Hello, everybody. It's Dave, and we're here for our weekly little rant. And again, today I have Bill Cook with me, and we're going to be talking. We talked about commercial cannabis, we talked about mushrooms as like a medical treatment, but this time we're going to talk more about the sacred aspects of the mushroom. And so, this predates, we were talking earlier, this predates Christianity, back to the olden days, and I think I'll let Bill go on from here.
So before there was Christianity, there was Zoroastrianism. Before Zoroastrianism, there was Hinduism. Before any of those religions was basically nature worship, or what is more commonly called goddess worship. And if you look at some of the oldest cave art, there are images of mushrooms in groups. There are images of basically shaman with mushrooms growing out of them. There are images of beings that look alien, and they often have mushrooms growing around them or in them. And there's a lot of even Christian art that contains hidden images of mushrooms.
Well, you know, I guess I have the question for me is that are you actually is this actually there, or are you specifically looking for it and finding it for that reason?
In my mind's eye, these things came to me long after I learned everything that society teaches us. And after I read a few different authors and scientists and religious scholars, they point it out to you, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. It's as if it's hidden in plain sight on purpose.
Okay. And so, now I know that you had used it to treat yourself. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So I was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder by the Amen Clinic in Reston, Virginia. Dr. Daniel Amen has a YouTube video called "What I Learned from 83,000 Brain Scans." Pretty reputable guy. I had eaten a hash brownie and had a sort of ghosts of Christmas experience, and it turns out Charles Dickens was a hash eater, so it's very real, something in our subconscious. I knew something was wrong. I went and I got the scan. I was diagnosed with having the brain of a Vietnam veteran. And then I got busted for the third time for growing cannabis. They pointed assault rifles at my 2 and 4 year old. At that point, I knew I had to make a change. And I asked the universe, because asking you shall receive, for mushrooms. And the universe brought me a bunch of mushrooms. So I took 3.5 grams the first time. You know what? I didn't even talk about the part where I Googled it.
We'll talk about the part
All
where
right.
you Googled
Well, so
it.
they
We're a
told me
podcast. We can
you can
screw up as
screw up
much
as
as
much
we
as we
want.
want. So I had been busted this third time, and they said you're going to go to prison for 3 years if you pee dirty, if you have cannabis in your urine. So that scared the hell out of me. So I Google how to cure PTSD, and one of the first things that comes back from Google is Johns Hopkins study on Vietnam veterans. And after a sub 5 gram dose, they were symptom free a year later. To me, that looked like a cure. So I asked for mushrooms. Mushrooms came to me, and I took 3.5 grams. And on those 3.5 grams, the first thing that appeared behind my closed eyes was like old school Windows defrag, and it moved the blocks around. And then right away, I'm in Egypt. And I'm looking at the Pyramid of Giza, and it's white and reflective, and it's got the capstone on it, and it's shooting a beam of light into the sky. And I look, and there's the Sphinx with the face of a dog. And my studies later tell me that it could have had the face of a dog. And then a giant woman appears over top of the pyramid, and then it's back to the defrag. And then it was gone. And later, I saw a video where a man had smoked dimethyltryptamine, which is the active ingredient in mushrooms, basically, and is in all living things. It's basically the spirit molecule. Every plant, every animal, every human, we have DMT in our bodies, and it's what causes us to dream. So they call it the spirit molecule. He saw what I saw, except the goddess that he saw, her dress was the pyramid. It was as if the pyramid was part of her clothing. It was fascinating. And then after that, well, I had to go back, so I took 9.5 grams, but that's a whole nother story.
Wow, 9.5 grams. We'll have to talk about that next week. We're going to continue this discussion because I find it really fascinating, and I think you guys will too. So, thank you for tuning in this week, and we'll see you again next week.
Thanks, Dave.
Hey, you're welcome. Thank you.